1986, yeah, everyone remembers Master of Puppets, Rain and Blood, the obvious untouchable classics of metal history. But if that's all you know about '86, you're missing a massive part of what actually made that year explode. Because beyond the big names, there was another wave of albums. Less famous, but just as important. Records that didn't dominate headlines, but quietly pushed metal forward. Bands evolving, experimenting, taking risks with their sound and identity. Some reshaped genres, others defined careers, and a few became classics way later. And yeah, most got overshadowed by the giants of that same year. So today, we fix that. We're diving into the underrated, transitional, and overlooked side of 1986. This is Keep Metal, and these are other essential albums from '86. Motörhead, Orgasmatron. And this one had a messy history before release. Delayed almost 3 years because of label problems, which usually kills momentum. But here, it actually worked in their favor, because this is where Motörhead stops being a power trio. Now it's Lemmy, Wurzel, Phil Campbell, Pete Gill, 2 guitars, heavier attack. And even with that extra guitar, they didn't lose their identity, they just added more weight to the riffs. You can hear subtle evolution too. Lemmy's voice sounds slightly sharper, more controlled, more focused on delivery. And there's more attention to choruses here, hooks that actually stick without losing that raw edge. It's still dirty, loud, unapologetic Motörhead, just adapted to the mid-'80s metal landscape. And honestly, this is one of their strongest releases in the second half of the decade, no question. Now, Metal Church, The Dark. And this band is criminally underrated, even today. This is their second album, and instead of playing it safe, they expand everything from their debut. You've got heavy metal, speed metal, power metal, but let's be real, the dominant force here is thrash. And not sloppy thrash, this is controlled, sharp, well-structured, and surprisingly polished. The production alone is cleaner than a lot of releases from that era, and it shows. Composition-wise, the band is at a peak. Tight songwriting, strong riffs, and real identity. And yeah, they even had a more accessible moment with Watch the Children Pray, but don't get comfortable. That's just one side of the album. The rest hits hard and shows just how much range a metal band could have in 1986. And that's exactly why The Dark stands as one of the most complete and overlooked albums of that year. All right, King Diamond, Fatal Portrait. This is right after leaving Merciful Fate, and yeah, you can feel that immediately. Because let's be honest, this basically sounds like Merciful Fate, just rebranded under his name. But that's not a bad thing. It's actually what makes this debut so strong and familiar right out of the gate. You've got a partial concept here. Some songs connected into a story, others completely stand alone. And musically, it leans more into straightforward heavy metal, with some hard rock touches here and there. Not as complex yet, not as theatrical as later albums, but the identity is already forming. And honestly, this is the blueprint for everything King Diamond would become later. Today it's a classic, but back then, it was just the beginning of something much bigger. Queensrÿche, Rage for Order. And this one, kinda weird, because visually, they got pushed into glam territory. And yeah, labels wanted them looking like Bon Jovi or Rat, but musically, completely different story. This is where the band starts going progressive, like seriously stepping into new territory. Keyboards, vocal effects, layered production, stuff that wasn't standard in metal back then. And lyrically, way more complex. Social themes, philosophical angles, deeper concepts overall. This album is basically the transition point into their classic progressive sound. And without this, their next masterpieces wouldn't even exist. So yeah, it's not their biggest hit, but it's one of their most important records. Dark Angel, Darkness Descends. Now this is where things get violent. We're talking speed levels comparable to Slayer, but with a different kind of control. Because instead of chaos, this band leans more into precision and technical execution. And a huge reason for that? Gene Hoglan, absolute monster behind the drums. This was his first album with the band, and you can feel his influence immediately. The speed, the structure, the complexity, it all hits harder because of that technical level. And this album didn't just stay in thrash, it helped push toward death metal territory. Straight up, one of the most intense and important thrash releases of 1986. Yngwie Malmsteen, Trilogy, third solo album, and by now, dude was already a guitar legend. Neoclassical shredding, insane technique. He already proved that in his first two albums. But here, he's aiming for something bigger, breaking in to the US market. So yeah, new singer, more polished look, even some glam aesthetics thrown in. And the result? A mix of catchy hard rock tracks and insanely complex instrumental work. It's more accessible, but still very much Malmsteen at his core. And honestly, this was probably his commercial peak. A perfect way to close his early trilogy of releases. Stryper, To Hell with the Devil. And yeah, this is where things get more melodic. They moved away from heavier speed influences into something more accessible. Big choruses, harmonies, cleaner production, clearly aiming for a wider audience. And yeah, this is full-on glam territory at this point. But it worked. The band blew up and hit their peak here. And it also became one of the key albums in Christian metal. Even today, it stands as a very unique piece of 80s metal history. Not for everyone, but undeniably important. Ozzy, The Ultimate Sin. Now this one, kind of controversial, but way better than people admit. Everything from Bark at the Moon gets amplified here. Bigger hooks, bigger production, bigger everything. And yeah, you can see the glam influence, the look, the attitude, the polish, it's all there. But musically, it still keeps that classic heavy metal backbone intact. This is Ozzy adapting to the trend without completely losing his identity. And yeah, he later criticized this album himself, but honestly, it holds up. It's catchy, it's polished, and it works, even if purists didn't like it. One of the clearest examples of classic metal meeting 80s commercial sound successfully. Sepultura, Morbid Visions, and this one, raw, chaotic, and absolutely essential. This is early extreme metal, right on the edge between thrash, death, and black influences. The production? Yeah, it's rough, like really rough. But that rawness actually gives it personality. It feels dangerous, unfiltered. This came right after Bestial Devastation, and you can feel the evolution already. And this is where Sepultura starts building what would become a global force. Huge influence on extreme metal, especially in South America. Messy? Yes. Important? Absolutely.
Quick recommendations, rapid fire, no time to waste, Angel Dust, Into the Dark Past, solid heavy / speed energy. Exumer, Possessed by Fire, pure thrash aggression, super underrated in the German scene. Crimson Glory, self-titled, more melodic, almost progressive, but still heavy. Flotsam and Jetsam, Doomsday for the Deceiver, technical, fast, super tight debut. And Nuclear Assault, game over, raw crossover thrash energy, chaotic but fun. If you haven't checked those out, you're missing part of the full 1986 picture. Judas Priest, #Turbo. And yeah, this shocked a lot of fans. The leather god suddenly showing up with synths, glam vibes, and radio-friendly hooks? For many fans, this felt like betrayal. For others, evolution. Because yeah, this is the closest Priest ever got to the American glam sound. Synth guitars, catchy structures, simpler lyrics, definitely more accessible. But here's the thing, the metal core never disappears completely. You can still hear that sharp, aggressive edge in the riffs underneath. And honestly, for what it tried to do, it succeeded. One of the most successful transitions into the 80s mainstream sound, even if some fans still argue about it today. And yeah, that's another deep dive into 1986, beyond the obvious classics. A year that wasn't just legendary, it was insanely diverse and experimental. If you want more, check the description. I'll link the first part and more albums. And yeah, playlist included so you can actually hear everything we talked about. If you enjoyed this, share it with someone who actually cares about real metal history. Because trust me, 1986 had way more depth than people usually think. This was Keep Metal, and I'll see you in the next one.